This tiny Australian 20 cents coin could be worth a small fortune, but only if you know what to look for. Don't miss your chance to find hidden treasure in your pocket. Welcome to HD Old Coins 51, where rare coins turn into big surprises. Coin 1. In the vibrant world of numismatics, a seemingly ordinary coin can sometimes carry with it an extraordinary story. This is the tale of the 2001 Australia 20 cents coin, an unassuming piece of modern currency that, upon closer inspection, reveals a wealth of history, artistry, and intrigue. While millions of these coins pass through the hands of Australians each day, few pause to consider the deeper significance etched into its lustrous cupronickel surface. But for collectors, historians, and enthusiasts, the 2001 Australia 20 cents coin represents much more than a mere means of trade. It is a window into a specific moment in time, a snapshot of national identity, and, in rare cases, a treasure worth thousands. The journey begins in the early 2000s, a time of transition and optimism for Australia. The nation had successfully hosted the Sydney Olympic Games in 2000, a global event that had showcased its culture, capabilities, and commitment to excellence. The air was charged with pride and unity, and in the aftermath of the Olympics, national symbols and emblems found renewed importance. Amidst this backdrop, the Royal Australian Mint continued its responsibility of producing coinage that both served practical economic functions and reflected the evolving face of the nation. The 20 cents coin, a staple of daily transactions, carried a long-standing design familiar to all Australians. Introduced in 1966, the coin had always featured the distinctive image of a platypus swimming beneath the water's surface, designed by Stuart Devlin. Devlin, a renowned Australian goldsmith and coin designer, had created a motif that would come to define the denomination for decades. In 2001, that design persisted, a sleek, fluid depiction of Australia's most enigmatic animal, its body streamlined in motion, bubbles trailing behind it as though caught mid-dive. This image encapsulated the uniqueness of Australia's wildlife and served as a symbol of the nation's natural wonders. On the obverse, the coin displayed the profile of Queen Elizabeth II, as was customary with all Australian currency. The 2001 version featured the portrait by Ian Rank Broadley, a British sculptor whose depiction of the monarch was notable for its realism and maturity, departing from the more idealized images of earlier portraits. The Rank Broadley effigy, introduced in 1999, was bold and unembellished, capturing the Queen in a regal yet grounded manner. And it would remain on Australian coins until well into the 2010s. The 2001 issue saw no radical changes to the standard 20 cents coin in terms of composition. It was still struck from an alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silvery appearance that gleamed under the right light. Weighing 11.3 grams and measuring 28.52 millimeters in diameter, the coin was relatively large and substantial, providing a tactile sense of worth that smaller denominations lacked. For most Australians, it was just another piece of change. But numismatists knew that the value of a coin was never determined solely by its face value. Minting details reveal that over 133 million 20 cents coins were struck in 2001 at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. With such a high mintage, the coin was not immediately considered rare. However, within this vast ocean of circulation strikes, a few intriguing anomalies and variations would emerge, capturing the attention of collectors across the globe. Some of these coins were found with weak strikes, partial rims, or even misalignments, minting errors that, while accidental, became immensely valuable to those who appreciated their scarcity. Moreover, 2001 was not just any ordinary year in the coin world. In addition to the regular circulating 20 cents coin, the Royal Australian Mint also produced commemorative issues for other denominations to celebrate the centenary of Australia's federation. While the 20 cents coin itself did not receive a federation design, the spirit of national pride and historical reflection permeated the entire year's coin production. Collectors were on high alert, hunting down variations and special issues, further elevating interest in all 2001 coinage. Then came the surprising realization that some of the standard 2001 20-cent coins were actually fetching unexpected prices at auction. It wasn't just due to errors or pristine condition, though those factors certainly played a role. It was the sheer interest in early 21st century coins, modern, yes, but increasingly scarce and high grades due to their daily use and general wear. The market began to shift. Collectors started paying closer attention to coins minted in the 1990s and early 2000s, many of which were now over 2 decades old and hard to find in mint state condition outside of original mint sets. And that's where the story gets even more compelling. In 2022, a 2001 Australia 20-cent coin graded MS66 by PCGS, one of the highest grades possible for a circulation strike, was sold at a major auction house in Sydney. The final hammer price? A surprising 420 Australian dollars, far exceeding its face value by over 2,000 times. The buyer, an anonymous collector from Melbourne, cited the coin's exceptional strike, lack of blemishes, and full original luster as his reason for bidding so high. In a post-auction interview, he explained, "Modern coins and top grades are the next frontier. Everyone's chasing century-old rarities, but the gems of recent decades are becoming harder to find every day." This sentiment echoed across coin forums and collectors' circles. Dealers began to reassess their stockpiles of early 2000s Australian coins. What was once considered modern and common was now being reviewed under high magnification, studied for strike sharpness, and sent off for professional grading. The numismatic landscape was shifting, and the 2001 20-cent coin was riding the wave. Adding to its appeal was the educational value it held for new collectors. It was affordable in circulated condition, allowing beginners to own a piece of Australian monetary history without breaking the bank. Yet, at the same time, it held the potential for significant value when preserved in exceptional condition. This made it the perfect entry coin, one that could introduce a hobbyist to the thrill of discovery and investment. It wasn't just in Australia where the 2001 20-cent coin gained traction. International collectors, particularly in Canada, the United States, and the United Kingdom, began to include it in their collections. Part of this global interest stemmed from the platypus design, an animal so distinctly Australian that it symbolized an entire continent. The animal's unique characteristics, such as its duck-like bill, webbed feet, and ability to lay eggs despite being a mammal, captured imaginations worldwide. In coin form, the platypus became a conversation piece, a token of exotic charm. Coin shows across Australia began featuring talks and presentations about undervalued modern issues. The 2001 20-cent coin was frequently highlighted, especially in discussions about grading practices and modern coin investing. Attendees would bring their pocket change, hoping to spot a high-grade example or a previously undiscovered error. Sometimes, those dreams came true. Stories emerged of coins found in old change jars or tucked away in drawers for years, suddenly revealed to be worth hundreds. Among the community, one of the most discussed finds was that of a near-perfect 2001 20-cent coin discovered by a retiree in Perth. She had been rolling coins for donation when she spotted one that just looked shinier than the rest. Curious, she took it to a local dealer, who confirmed its excellent condition and recommended submission to a grading service. The result? MS67, a near-flawless coin that later sold for 675 Australian dollars in a private collector-to-collector sale. It was a reminder that treasures still existed in everyday places, waiting to be recognized. As this newfound appreciation took hold, the Royal Australian Mint even responded by highlighting the long legacy of the 20-cent coin in promotional materials. Though they made no official statement about specific rare 2001 coins, their recognition of modern coin collectors hinted at an institutional awareness of shifting interests. Today, the 2001 Australia 20-cent coin stands as a fascinating blend of accessibility and mystery. It is not rare by mintage, yet rare in mint state. It is not commemorative, yet commemorated by those who understand its place in the timeline of Australian coinage. It is not ancient, yet already historic. For viewers watching this video, the message is simple: don't overlook the coins in your own home. The 2001 Australia 20 cents might be sitting right there in a piggy bank or a forgotten wallet. It might be dull from wear or dazzling in mint luster. But whether it holds face value or auction glory depends on your eye, your knowledge, and sometimes a bit of luck. Coin 2. In the vast landscape of numismatics, where history is captured in metal and memories are pressed into currency, few modern coins have captivated collectors like the 2004 Australia 20 cents coin. It's a piece of modest origin yet profound significance, a small silver-colored disc that carries with it the identity of a nation and the quiet, enduring story of its people. Australia's currency history is a tale of transformation. From its early barter systems to the introduction of British sterling, and eventually to the decimalization of its coinage in 1966, every step forward was marked with both controversy and pride. The 20 cents denomination, born from that decimal transition, quickly became a staple of daily exchange, but not all years are created equal, and the 2004 issue is one of peculiar fascination. The year 2004 in Australia was one of change and quiet evolution. Politically, the country stood firm in its democratic traditions. Economically, it thrived under the strength of its mining sector and global trade. Culturally, Australians continued to celebrate their rich heritage, and in the background of all this, the Royal Australian Mint continued its tireless work, producing coins that would both circulate in the millions and, unbeknownst to many, offer rare treasures to those with a keen eye. The 20 cents coin is often overlooked in favor of flashier denominations, but its design is one of understated beauty. Designed by Stuart Devlin, the official goldsmith and jeweler to the Queen, the reverse of the coin features a fluid and dynamic platypus gliding through water. With a sense of motion rarely captured in static metal, Devlin's art has become iconic. It is a vision of one of Australia's most unique native creatures, an emblem of the country's biodiversity and peculiar charm. The obverse of the 2004 20 cents coin, as expected, bears the crowned portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. It was Ian Rank Broadley's effigy, a design introduced in 1998, marked by its realism and dignified detail. Around her visage were inscribed the words Elizabeth II Australia 2004, a stamp of time, a declaration of sovereignty. But the 2004 mintage holds an unusual appeal for collectors. For one, the minting numbers weren't particularly high compared to other years. With just over 97 million coins minted for general circulation, it may not seem rare at first glance. However, as collectors began examining the details more closely, several key features emerged that would send ripples through the numismatic world. Among the circulated coins, there were examples with misstrikes, off-centers, and weak strikes, which are always alluring to those seeking anomalies. More importantly, there were specimens that showed signs of die clashes and cut breaks, subtle errors that elevated them from the mundane to the magnificent. And then came the auctions. It wasn't long before a few sharp-eyed collectors began to sell particularly pristine examples of the 2004 20 cents coin. One such piece, graded MS67 by PCGS, meaning it was nearly perfect, was sold at a live auction in Sydney in 2021 for an astonishing $360 Australian dollars. Another, presented in near uncirculated condition with a distinct die crack, was auctioned in Melbourne in 2023 and fetched $290 Australian dollars. For a coin with a face value of merely 20 cents, these results raised eyebrows and pulses. The appeal of the 2004 issue also lies in its modern rarity. Unlike older coins which wear their age proudly, modern coins like this one must stand out by virtue of condition, error, or provenance. A flawless 2004 20 cents coin pulled directly from a mint roll and preserved carefully can today command prices that far exceed its humble origins. Collectors, both in Australia and abroad, have taken a renewed interest in this specific year. Online forums buzz with stories of hobbyists finding near-mint examples and pocket change, only to later discover their value. On eBay and heritage auction sites, listings for high-grade 2004 20 cents coins often attract dozens of watchers and fierce bidding wars, especially when certified by third-party graders. In truth, Part of what makes this coin so captivating is the tension between its ordinariness and its potential worth. It is, after all, a coin that may have bought a packet of chips or sat in a child's piggy bank. It could have tumbled through washing machines, slipped beneath car seats, or vanished behind couch cushions. And yet, when found in brilliant uncirculated condition, it transforms from common currency into a sought-after collectible. As the years pass, fewer and fewer pristine examples remain in circulation. Those that are found in high grade increasingly come from private hoards or unsearched rolls kept by those who recognize the value of modern numismatics early. The 2004 20-cent coin, once dismissed as just another platypus, is now recognized as a treasure in its own right. Beyond its monetary value, there is something deeply satisfying about holding one. It is weighty, not just in physical form, but in story. Every scratch, every shine, every ding tells a story of a journey through hands, pockets, and time. For collectors, this story is worth preserving. And for investors, the message is clear. Modern coinage, when chosen wisely and preserved carefully, can yield remarkable returns. The 2004 Australia 20-cent coin stands as a shining example, one that has already surprised many and is likely to continue doing so for decades to come. From the workshops of the Royal Australian Mint to the velvet-lined boxes of collectors across the globe, the 2004 20-cent coin has traveled far. Its legacy is still being written, and for those who recognize its brilliance, the journey is just beginning. Coin 3. In the heart of 2006, nestled in the vibrant pulse of a rapidly modernizing Australia, a small but significant piece of currency rolled off the presses of the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. At first glance, it was just another 20-cent coin, a mere fraction of daily transactions, quietly jingling in the pockets of millions. Yet, beneath its modest metallic surface lay a story that would captivate collectors, historians, and enthusiasts across the globe. This is not just a tale of a coin, but of national identity, artistry, scarcity, and a hidden gem that has fetched surprising prices in auctions, turning heads in the numismatic world. That it all began with the continued use of Stuart Devlin's iconic design, a depiction of the elusive and graceful platypus, swimming in fluid, arching currents. The platypus, one of Australia's most uniquely emblematic animals, had long symbolized the continent's rich and rare wildlife. Introduced on the 20-cent coin back in 1966 during the decimalisation of Australia's currency, the design had become a staple, a quiet homage to the natural beauty down under. But the 2006 issue was more than a continuation of tradition. It was a coin released in a year of subtle transitions, economic strength, and rising numismatic attention. Minted primarily for circulation, the 2006 20-cent coin was struck in copper nickel, a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, measuring 28.52 millimeters in diameter and weighing 11.3 grams. On the obverse side, one could find the stately portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing to the right as tradition dictated, designed by Ian Rank Broadley and introduced in 1999. The effigy was strong, dignified, and slightly more realistic than previous versions, capturing Her Majesty's aging features with reverence and honesty. It was a reminder of continuity, of monarchy, and of heritage. But while the coin appeared familiar, its mintage numbers were what began to stir whispers among the collecting community. Compared to earlier years where tens of millions of 20-cent coins were produced, the 2006 issue had a notably smaller production run. Circulation figures from the Royal Australian Mint suggest approximately 59.4 million 20-cent coins were minted that year. Not the rarest, certainly, but a drop from previous years and enough to start separating average strikes from particularly well-preserved examples. What makes the 2006 20-cent coin even more intriguing isn't just its design or mintage numbers. It's the growing demand among modern collectors for high-grade examples. With the rise of coin grading companies like PCGS and NGC, Australian coin collectors began submitting coins in unprecedented numbers, hoping to secure that elusive mint state, 67 or 68. And it was here, in this arena of certified perfection, that the 2006 20 cent began to sparkle. Coins struck in everyday circulation environments are subject to wear, bag marks, contact scratches, and other imperfections. Finding a 2006 20 cent coin in near-perfect condition, free of blemishes, with full luster and sharp detail, became a thrilling challenge. This led to some coins, especially those in uncirculated rolls or collector sets, achieving significant premiums at auction. In 2022, a standout example of a 2006 Australia 20 cent coin graded MS67 by PCGS surfaced at a Melbourne auction presented by Downey's Auction House. Bidders recognized its exceptional quality and pristine finish. After a flurry of online and in-room competition, the hammer finally dropped at $320, an astonishing sum for a modern coin of low denomination. Another example, sold in 2023 by Noble Numismatics in Sydney, featured a deep proof-like finish and fetched $260. These weren't mere anomalies. They were signals of a rising trend. Modern Australian decimal coins gaining traction in the global numismatic market. Stories began to surface of collectors in Queensland and New South Wales combing through pocket change and old family coin jars, hoping to find a gem hiding in plain sight. Some succeeded, and others simply grew more fascinated by the cultural and artistic legacy that even modern coins carried. The platypus, gliding across its silver-colored surface, became more than just an engraving. It became a symbol of opportunity, a ticket into a wider world of historical connection and economic potential. Interestingly, 2006 also marked a period where Australia was experimenting and innovating with its commemorative coinage, releasing colorized $1 coins and special issues celebrating national icons. In this backdrop of numismatic creativity, the standard circulating 20-cent coin might have seemed pedestrian. But in hindsight, it was a quiet standout, a piece whose scarcity in top grades and solid design continuity made it a perfect candidate for rising collector interest. Beyond auctions and valuations, the 2006 20-cent coin began to carry sentimental and nostalgic value. For some, it was the last coin dropped into a vending machine before the advent of tap-and-go payments. For others, it was part of a child's piggy bank, a first introduction to saving and value. In classrooms across Australia, students used such coins in math lessons, never knowing that someday one of them might hold the key to a few $100s or more. What elevates this particular coin is its place within a timeline, a bridge between past and present. It's modern enough to be relatable and accessible, yet old enough to begin slipping from circulation, especially in pristine form. And as Australia's coinage inevitably evolves, and as Queen Elizabeth II's effigy is slowly replaced following her passing in 2022, coins bearing her portrait, like the 2006 20 cent, are becoming more historically poignant. Numismatics is not just about rarity or metal content. It's about stories. And the story of the 2006 Australia 20-cent coin is one of quiet strength, enduring artistry, and unexpected value. Coin 4. In the heart of the Southern Hemisphere lies a nation shaped by centuries of rich history, remarkable resilience, and a deep-rooted love for the currency that chronicles its journey. Australia, known for its golden coasts, vast outback, and a monarchy-tied past, has left its mark on the numismatic world. And nestled quietly within its modern mintage lies a coin so common, so ordinary in daily life, that most people barely glance at it. Yet the 2021 Australia 20 cents coin hides a story that few truly understand. One of evolution, artistry, precision, and unexpected value. Every coin has two faces, but not just the obverse and the reverse. There's the face the world sees, and then the face known only to those who care to look closer. The 2021 Australia 20 cents coin was meant for circulation, for parking meters, supermarket trolleys, and fish and chip shops. It was struck in the millions and meant to jingle forgettably in people's pockets. But this particular year, something changed. And the collectors? They noticed. The story of this 20-cent piece doesn't begin in 2021. It begins far earlier, in 1966, when Australia decimalized its currency. That year, the first 20-cent coin was born. It featured the iconic platypus, an animal as uniquely Australian as Vegemite and kangaroos. Designed by the renowned Stuart Devlin, this semi-aquatic creature would remain a fixture on the reverse for decades, symbolizing not just biodiversity, but national identity. That same design lives on in 2021, familiar, timeless, and distinct. Yet every iteration carries subtle changes, minting differences, and errors that become goldmines for numismatists. Fast forward to 2021. The world is still trembling under the weight of a global pandemic. Economies are disrupted, international shipping is strained, and mints across the globe are adjusting output in reaction to shifting demand. In Australia, the Royal Australian Mint continues producing circulation coinage, but not without challenges. Fewer coins are needed as contactless payments soar. But tradition must be maintained. Coins still have to be struck. The 2021 20 cents coin rolls off presses in Canberra, its nickel-plated copper core flashing under artificial light. The design is unchanged, the same swimming platypus surrounded by ripples, the denomination 20 hovering above its streamlined head. Yet it's the obverse that captures attention. In 2021, it bears the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Jody Clark. Unlike the earlier versions where Her Majesty faced slightly left with a soft smile, Clark's design is sharper, more regal, and features the Queen wearing the royal diamond diadem. This is the sixth and final effigy of Queen Elizabeth II to appear on Australian coinage. The poignancy of that cannot be overstated. Just a year later, in 2022, the Queen would pass away, ending a record-breaking reign and closing a chapter in Commonwealth history. Collectors would scramble to secure coins featuring her final portrait, and the 2021 20 cents coin became part of that historical tapestry. But there's more to this coin than a regal profile. In 2021, due to the unpredictable demand, the Royal Australian Mint limited its mintage. Circulating versions became less common, and uncirculated, mint state versions were hoarded. And then came the real shock, the discovery of die varieties and minor striking anomalies. A small number of 2021 20 cent coins exhibited doubling on the Queen's eye, an error known in numismatic circles as a double die. Others revealed die cracks that ran along the platypus's bill, giving it a ghostly, etched appearance. Suddenly, ordinary change transformed into treasure. Social media coin groups lit up with photos and videos of lucky finds. Forums debated over varieties, and major auction houses took notice. It wasn't long before the first few rare 2021 20 cent errors appeared on the bidding floor. ATA small auction in Melbourne in early 2023, a pristine mint state 2021 20 cents coin with an evident double die obverse and sharp die crack on the reverse fetched an astonishing $675 AUD. What shocked everyone wasn't just the price, it was the sheer speed at which it climbed. The bidding started at a humble $20, but within minutes, a fierce online war broke out between collectors from New South Wales and Queensland. The final gavel struck not in person, but virtually live-streamed to hundreds of viewers across Australia. That moment set a precedent. Soon, more coins were authenticated by PCGS and NGC. A high-grade MS67 2021 20 cents with a prominent die clash mark on the reverse, where the Queen's silhouette faintly appeared behind the platypus, was listed on eBay and sold within hours for $790 AUD. It was bought by a private collector from Perth, who believed this would be a future rarity. Stories like these don't just sell coins, they fuel a collector frenzy. Markets swell not just from genuine scarcity, but from the thrill of the hunt. Viewers of your channel, HD Old Coins 51, are already familiar with this excitement, the lure of the unknown, the hidden gem in a jar of loose change. And the 2021 20 cents coin delivers that rush in abundance. But this coin has another layer of value, a sentimental one. It is the final full-year 20 cents coin with Queen Elizabeth II during her lifetime. As generations look back, this coin will be remembered not just for its errors or scarcity, but as a tribute to a monarch who reigned through wars, pandemics, and the changing tides of time. Coin fairs across Australia now regularly feature 2021 20 cent coins and protective flips and graded slabs. Dealers quote rising prices. In early 2024, Noble Numismatics listed a nearly flawless MS-68 coin, error-free but rare in grade, with an asking price of $1,100 AUD. The listing noted the coin's historical significance and its impeccable luster, clear, clean, and untouched by circulation. A young collector from Brisbane recounted on a podcast how she found a lightly circulated version in her pocket change during a trip to Sydney. She didn't think much of it until she saw your video. She submitted the coin to PCGS, and to her surprise, it graded MS-64. She now proudly displays it, not for its market value, but because it sparked her lifelong journey into coin collecting. And that is the power of a coin like this. It's not always about silver, gold, or high denomination. Sometimes, it's the quiet 20 cents that tells the richest story. The 2021 Australia 20 cents coin, humble in appearance, immense in meaning. It's a coin that bridges eras, that whispers of legacy and chance, that brings auction floors to a hush and YouTube comment sections to life. So the next time you hear that metallic chime in your change, look closely. Look beyond the surface. That platypus may just be carrying a piece of history, and perhaps even a hidden fortune.